Other big news that has happened, Angel City. They have signed forward Julia Dufour to a 3-year contract through 2027. She comes from Petty FC on an undisclosed transfer fee. I am not the resident French speaker here. Dee, how'd I do it?
Bonjour, salut, ça va? I had the privilege of playing with Julie Dufour in Bordeaux, and she's a really great player. She's very technical. She's very versatile. This was a really interesting signing to me for Angel City. That's not a name I expected to see. I do love that we're seeing so many French players, so many French national team players come over to the US and want to show their stuff and strut in the NWSL. Even so many of my former teammates, like Ulay Sarr, we were all teammates at Bordeaux. Ines, Claire Lavauger, and Angel City. I know we spoke about them in the last show. It feels like Julie Dufour is a great player, but it wasn't the player that you build your entire team around that we were saying Angel City needed to have. Yes, it adds depth, and she's a versatile player. She can play in a bunch of different positions across the front line and in the midfield. She even played outside back a little bit. But to me, it wasn't the powerhouse defining player where they play a certain type of way, and we're bringing them in to shake everything up and just have an ultra attacking player that can score us some goals, because that was very clearly their issue this last year. So I have some questions about how Angel City is moving forward with this signing and what that means with what else they're going to do in this offseason.
Angel City has also reassured their backline, re-signing defender M.A. Vignola, who's been with the club since their inaugural season in 2021. So Vignola will stay with Angel City for another 2 years through 2026. Washington Spirit, they have snagged arguably one of the hottest free agent midfielders that is available this offseason. Japanese international Narumi has signed with Washington Spirit on a 2-year contract with an option for 2027. Sandra, this is a player immediately we starred at the end of 2024. So I was like, what year is it? Saying this is a huge get. What does she add for Washington? Why is this such a good get for Washington Spirit in particular to get Narumi?
I am so high on this signing for the Spirit. I think it says a lot about where they've been and where they're going. This is a team that wants to be the team that competes constantly in NWSL. And I think for some folks who maybe are sleeping a little bit on Narumi, I don't know why. She's been such an integral piece for the Courage for so long, and now maybe we're going to get to see some of that happen for the Spirit as well. I think it's also really smart how they're going to utilize her, Hirales and his coaching staff, and the vision that they have for this player. I mean, you want to have those connective tissue type of players, and that's exactly the kind of profile that Narumi kind of fits for me. Whether you kind of work her into a box or different shapes in that middle third, she is going to be an effective player. And maybe this is a little bit of some, insurance policy. There are some players in that middle third for Washington who picked up some injuries down the stretch of 2024. How is their progress going to look in 2025? Maybe they take they're obviously going to want to take their time and make sure those players can get back to speed, and they're going to be able to do that because they have such a kind of complete player in Narumi to kind of slot into those midfield positions. So I'm eager to sort of see how it looks in 2025 as well, because they're going to have eventually at some point in 2025 regular season, they might have a little bit of champagne problems in that midfield. But for now, I think they'll have an easier way to kind of figure some things out in terms of shape and how things look.
Exactly.
Ooh, I was thinking that too with the champagne problems, because we saw that with Gotham.
Yeah.
Saw it with Gotham happen this last year. I know we're going to get to that side of everything, but I wonder with how stacked that midfield is. You have Corey Bethune coming back. I'm sure there's going to be other players that we see coming in. They're rookies who excelled this last year. How do you make room for everybody and keep everybody happy? I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they could push Hal Hirschfeld a little higher too at times. Let her get out of that number 6 role, make her play more of an 8 and be more of a box-to-box midfielder. That could help alleviate
could be good for her game.
The troubles. Yeah, because once Andy Sullivan comes back and you have Narumi, that is champagne problems. That is champagne problems. It could change also the style that they play. We
Mhm.
don't even know. We get a whole
They
year.
could trade everybody else.
Yes.
We don't know what's going to happen.
That's how good of a signing it is, though. We're just like,
Elsewhere in front office news, Bay FC, they've named Matt Potter as the permanent sporting director. Potter's been with Bay since December of 2023. He was initially the technical director, and then halfway through last season, he became head of football operations and the interim sporting director. Now he is the full-time sporting director. I mean, he's been all over the place in NWSL as the head coach for Kansas City Current. He was with the U.S. women's national team for several years, helping them win the World Cup in 19. He was a U23 women's national team head coach in 2020. He's been everywhere. Now he's the permanent sporting director at Bay FC. In the South, Houston Dash, they've announced 2 new contracts for midfielder Belle Breedy and defender Kristen Westphal. So Dash securing their rosters and some of their free agents. And then the big one, we see you guys on YouTube in the chat. Since the moment we started this live stream, you've been asking about this rumored trade. Guess what? We're talking about it. U.S. women's national team forward Lynn Williams is reportedly being traded from Gotham FC to Seattle Reign. This news broke on social media thanks to Dan Laletta and Jenna Tonelli, saying that multiple sources have confirmed this. Jenna Tonelli also saying that she's been told by sources close to Gotham that Lynn Williams wished to finish her career on the West Coast and the club wanted to support her. Sandra, this is huge, huge news if this happens, when it happens, but reportedly it seems true for now.
I mean, we're gonna get the details of the trade in terms of what's going the other way for Gotham. That's the other part of this move. But I think for now, for Seattle, big win, big get. And I think in terms of players and how they want to navigate their careers moving forward, sometimes, at a certain point in your career, you want to go home. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, should be encouraged more in the league, in my opinion. And she wanted to go ahead and get back to the West Coast, and it sounds like Gotham were open to listening for moves that could benefit all parties. But I think for the Seattle Reign of it all, massive get. I think this is a team that's obviously coming off of a really, really tough 2024 season where honestly just nothing seemed to go right at times for them. And when I think of Lynn Williams getting into a team environment led by Laura Harvey, I have to imagine that good things are going to happen for Seattle in 2025.
This
Big
is
news.
huge for the Reign. I think this is define a new Seattle Reign than we've ever seen before. Because if you have a player like Lynn Williams on your team, you're changing your style of play so that she can get on the ball, so that she can get to goal. You're no longer relying on what they did with Pino, Rose Lavelle, with deep crosses, the 1v1s wide, but really just sending balls in and looking for people to finish. You want Lynn on the ball, running at defenders and goalkeepers with space ahead of her. So I'm so interested to see what Laura Harvey's going to do. And it's funny because I said at the final, y'all need a player like Lynn Williams. And she joked like, oh, I don't know if we could ever get her.
Who knew?
Boom, bat. God damn. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Laura Harvey.
The facilitator. Look at that. Look at that.
I don't know. I'm in the zone.
There are a lot of teams that need
Ask me anything.
GMs right now, Darian. You could be getting signed. Guys, don't take her from us. We need her.
No poaching.